Good evening. My name is Aditya. I'm a student of management. My question to the panel in general would be this. Now that the debate has ventured towards the political scenario on the whole and the socio-political construct, and we are sitting in Delhi 1 month away from elections, half a month away from elections actually, where do you think Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party features into all of this? I'm sorry for taking this into a very cliched debate we've seen, but since this debate has gone into the socio-political construct, I am very interested to see what our panelists think about this new, radical new element that's coming up in the elections. Thank you.
No, look, quick answer. I mean, we can debate Arvind Kejriwal. And when the movement started, I mean, I counted myself as one of the critics and have still sort of lots of worries, right? But in a way, it's a partial answer to what Mallika ji just said, right? Whether you agree or disagree, right? He has taken the debate to a question that does need to be answered about institutions. I don't like the institutional imagination he brings to it, right? But the fact of the matter is, in that vacuum about debating those institutions, he's beginning to fill that, right? You know, a party that has decentralization up front, now we can argue about how much can voters participate and so forth, right? But that fact, that you can't take away from him. And that is actually tapping into something. Most people see the two major parties as frozen on almost every issue, right? So, you know, if this great experiment in democracy, let's at least give this some space and in a sense, you know, and so it's, and like with any political movement, right? I mean, if you had asked in 1999 what the BJP would do in power, you could not predict, right? So there is that political evolution. But I think it reflects that these are the questions of tomorrow that neither of the main political parties are addressing, and he's tapped into it.
Mallika?
I have to say also that the very fact that in today's political scenario, a new and fledgling party can actually come in with no backing except individuals and people who believe in this dream and actually get two parties worried is a very welcome sign in a democracy. I mean, I remember when I stood for election, how suddenly all the parties became a club against me, the independent. So there are lots of things when the parties join together because it's very comfortable. And within that context, for this party to actually be getting as much newspaper room or conversation as it is, I think is fantastic. Now what they do, God knows. But
I think to some extent they've beaten the traditional politician at his game. Because when it comes to gimmicks, when it comes to what will appeal to the media, what will catch people's imagination, I think they've been way ahead of Lalu Prasad Yadav, which is a good thing. So in the process, what have they done? They have, see, the big problem in Indian politics that Pratap's also complained about many times is that entry barriers are now very high. It becomes very difficult for an outsider to come into politics. And frankly, if it's a party like the Congress, it becomes impossible to someone who's not a son or a daughter. Who's in Congress party, it's very important that your parents should have done very well. And the BJP, it's very important that you should have become a Swayam Sevak when you were in school. For the rest, it's very difficult to get into public life. So I think they've broken through that. And also, I think they've been quite disruptive in the way they've run their politics. For example, I don't know how many seats they get in Delhi, but what they've done in the slums of Delhi, they have disrupted the Congress party's fossilized old approach in Delhi's Jhuggi Jhopdi colonies, Delhi's slum colonies, where they could take all their votes for granted. Today, his larger support actually is in those colonies. So that is a very interesting thing. And he hasn't done it by using caste. So